questions and answers and discussion and bantering and all kinds of tomfoolery, right? Tomfoolery is what we're about here. So how's it going? Hope you're doing well. So today we're outside, and I thought, you know what, let's put my sunglasses on because it's a nice day outside. Finally, we had a nice weather. I really kind of was thinking about doing this episode on Monday, but you know, the weather was kind of overcast, and yesterday wasn't kind of nice as well. It was okay yesterday, but today turned out to be just right. So good time to be here amongst the cherry blossoms. So we're here, the cherry blossoms. Kent, how are you? Hope things are well. So we're here, and I've decided that let's make something, because it's that season, let's make cherry blossom coffee. But unlike, I got our brewing kit here, unlike our other the other day when Maku, how are you? Unlike the other day when we were making our lattes, our cherry blossom latte, I thought let's make cherry blossom coffee. And instead of using syrup to flavor it, why don't we use the real petals from the tree and, you know, do it that way, right? So I've got my trusty shears here. These are an old pair of Corona shears from Japan. They're nice quality if you're into gardening. These have been around for a long time. So let's go get some hey Mom, how are you? Let's get some blossoms. So we got a big blossom tree here, and we're just gonna look for a nice full, let me turn this around. We're gonna look for a nice full cluster. Maybe this one. I'm gonna go up there and snip it. Like that. Oh. Okay, I think that's going to be enough. I don't think for this we're going to need more. Right, so here's our cluster. Now, you know, you can, now is the season. So if you want to do it, now is the time to get your stuff together. I've got some in our kit here for our brewing. There was some water. And we've got a full kit here. So I've got a grinder, the Porlex Mini. We've got some fuel, although I brought some extra fuel because I think we're almost out. We've got a little kettle and a stove. So let me put this down for a second. We're gonna... So MSR kettle. This is their tea kettle, and this is just anodized aluminum, not the high-tech titanium that other people have, right? Like, I would like to have that, but I don't have that. Then we've got our MSR little pocket rocket stove, or whatever they call it. And these are nice because they fold out as the little legs. So everything's really compact. And as you saw, it fits in the thing. Did everyone see the new fellow espresso machine? Thoughts? Indifference is fine. I don't have much thoughts just yet because I figured I'll see it this week at the trade show. It looks nice. I hear some people were... I've heard that, you know, I was talking with Matt about it yesterday, and he said that some people were like, you know, I don't know, disappointed it doesn't have all kinds of new high-tech stuff. I don't know if that's a big deal. Oh. Ha! Well, here's a problem. Do I... Oh, come... Oh, here we go. Good. I thought that I didn't have a lighter with me. I was like, oh, man. So we're going to take this, put the water in first. Let's get the water first over here. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on it just yet because it's still, you know, it still remains to be seen as far as what's going to happen with it or what they have. But evidently I've heard that, you know, it doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles like profiling and whatever that people may want. Okay, that's running. We need the lid in our pot. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? I'd be interested to know what you think. Peter, what's up, Peter? Okay, now we're going to put that in full blast. Hopefully we don't run out of gas. And then now we're going to do some grinding with our coffee. We got our mug here, We've got our Porlex. I know some of you don't like the Porlex. For me, the Porlex is fine. I'm not terribly worried about it. You know me, when it comes to travel and like doing things, my tolerance for things being rather mucked up is fairly high. Okay, so we've got our Porlex here. I'm just gonna fill up with the coffee that we have. This is the coffee we used the other day, the Finca Fe Gracia from my friend Mari Portillo in Honduras, and it's a nice coffee. And let us get, we're just gonna put the coffee in, right? Just gonna fill it in. Just like that, so that's good. You put the lid on top, and we're gonna grind. Now I do have it on a coarser setting than we had it a couple weeks ago because, you know, and as you know, I don't like this kind of grinding. In fact, I hate it. But you know what? Because it's the 400th episode, I thought let us do something special. And this is kind of special. Special needs. So how's the world in your area? And are there still cherry blossoms where you are? So when you have the grinder set to a coarser setting than ultra fine, it actually makes it go relatively fast. Not as fast as I would like. If I was using an electric grinder, I'd be finished by now. I think we're almost there. But the show's coming up, and I'm actually kind of excited. There's a Japanese manufacturer of coffee brewing called Kogu, who I've been trying to buy product from and get more information from, but they've been, they don't care about America. So, fine, but I saw that they posted that they're going to be having a presence at the show, so I'm looking forward to that. That's like the one thing that I'm actually looking forward to of all the products that are out there. So we've got our Hario V60 in plastic, because we like to see the colors. Now today, what we're going to do is we're just going to brew, we're going to brew straight into the cup. So I've got my little cup here, REI, outside with pride. So we're going to take that, put that here. Water is boiling. Turn that down. Okay, so what we're going to do is we've got our coffee ground. So I'm going to put a little bit of the coffee in. Cute cup, isn't it, Paige? Thank you. Oh, I'm about to put the coffee in without the filter. So we need the filter. This is the Hario V60 filter. Gosh, it looks kind of small. Maybe that's a little bit small. So we're going to put a little bit of coffee in. And now we're going to put some cherry blossom petals. And then a little more coffee. And then some more petals. Ooh, the petals. See, the petals are already starting to fall apart. So if you're trying to get out there to enjoy Sakura season, man, it is time. Because, oh, look at that. It's like it's so pretty, right? Like I could be in a movie like this, right? If I was just like, there'll be a time soon when that's going to be happening. I'm just going to sit outside and... Okay, we need a little more petals. Okay, so we've got petals. Can you see that? Okay, so we've got petals here, ready to go. Oh. Paige says, I might be interested in the fellow ES1. It would be an upgrade from my Barista Pro. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, so let us get our water, turn off the heat, and we're just gonna brew. Go from this direction so we have sunlight. And we're just gonna brew on top of it. We're just gonna kind of brew normally and just use the hot water to hopefully extract some of the flavor from the petals. Do we have more coffee there? I'd love to have a new coffee bar to accommodate the on the. So is the ES1 a pretty deep machine? So I do think that, like, if you ever, you might have noticed that I never really put too much crazy effort into the brewing. Right? Like it's always relatively simple. It's simplistic brewing. Mainly because I think that you don't necessarily need to be too crazy about it. If you want to be, of course, more power to you. Like I'm not detracting from that. Gosh, I love the pedals. But I think that, for the most part, if you're especially if you're like out and about, I see my friends in the business, and they spend inordinate amounts of time trying to make nice, beautiful coffee in, the most sketchy of conditions. And it's like, why not just have really nice coffee and not worry too much about it? Like when I leave on Thursday, I'm not bringing any brewing equipment because I think that would be silly. There's a lot of coffee to be had at the show, and there's coffee shops should I really want to go to. I probably will go to. If you have any suggestions about coffee shops in Houston to visit, maybe I'll go check them out. Okay, so there it is. We pretty much got our 12 ounces of drink, right? Still flowing through. We're gonna let that flow through just for a few more moments. But definitely, as you can see, the petals are easily falling off of this blossom. So if you want to enjoy the cherry blossoms, be sure to go out like today. Go out today and revel in their beauty. It's really just they're such a lovely texture. I mean, it's such a precious window. It's a very ephemeral experience, for just this time of year. So try to get it if you can. All right, there we are. We've got our coffee ready to go. Nice, huh? Nice. Okay, let's go back here. Am I reading all the newest comments? No, it's that when I'm using the phone like I normally do when we're on the road, and the little screen has the comments. So in horizontal mode like we are now, the comments pop up here on my screen, right? And it's very like fleeting, so I don't get to see everything. So what I have to do is I have to take my finger, touch it, and then drag down and see what everybody has said. Paige, oh, good morning to you. Thank you for the location. See, like I didn't see Paige. I only saw Paige's cute cup, not the first one before that. Powerplant says, I've used a lot of Kogu products in person, and they are fine. Nothing particularly nice, but fun. What I liked about what the Kogu had was not necessarily that I thought they were. I mean, they seem perfectly fine, and perfectly fine suits what I'm interested in. I think. I really kind of noticed them when they had this ad on their, or this thing on their Instagram where they had the unbreakable kettle with whatever brewing device, and everything was stacked inside it. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And for my project of building this brewing kit in a sustainer, that kind of piques my interest, right? So, and then I learned that I thought it was glass, and then I learned that they're supposed to be unbreakable beakers. So I'm like, oh, that sounds even better, because I would prefer, especially for traveling or like for putting together a kit, something more durable that's not going to break as readily. And I guess the question is now, with those products, like let's say before we had the polycarbonate beakers for the Bodum Chambord French presses, we used to use those at my shops. But over time, because you're washing them and they're being used and all this, they get kind of like dull looking. They get kind of like cloudy because they're getting scratches. Little micro scratches make it not so pretty. So I'm wondering, well, can the kogu hold up, for more? Oh, goodness, like losing control here. Can the kogu hold up for more rigorous use over time? Peter says no pedal should be immersed. I know, but you know what? It's like we're just trying something new today. Seeing will it give us a fragrance or flavor of, maybe the pollen is now going to interfere with my ability to breathe. This is one of those moments where I'm going to have to actually like let this keep this for the rest of the day until it's really cooled down, and try it later in the day, or maybe let somebody else try it to see. Because one of the things when you're doing something like this is that we're putting the petals in, we're brewing with the petals, right? And the exposure time of the petals to the water is very minimal, which is why Peter's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Like, you don't know what you're doing. You're being a fool again. So it's very easy for anyone that's tasting to project their expectations onto it. So there's part of me that was like, oh, I can taste the cherry blossoms. Maybe I can, but maybe I can't. And I have to be cognizant of the fact that maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just thinking that I'm tasting some cherry blossom-esque kind of nuance because I put the cherry blossoms and I brewed it that way, and I'm expecting to have that. But there is a difference. So we're just going to have to wait till it's cold later this afternoon and find out to see if that's even apparent. Because one of the things is that, when it's really, really hot, it does include the flavors, your ability to taste. So there's that too. Power Plant says, it looks interesting for sure, but first generation is always a tough sell for me personally. Yeah, it is. First generation is kind of interestingly scary. But I saw a picture on Hoon's feed yesterday from his community post about that machine, and if I remember correctly, it was black that had like a polished metal cylinder for the group head, which made me think, oh, it looks kind of like a Senesso. I don't know if it really does, but that was my just very, very brief, quick initial impression of what I saw. So I don't know. I'm interested to know what you guys think about that. Oh, Peter says, infused like a tisane, not a tea. Now I'm just messing with you. Paige says, it's 17 inches deep. My current coffee bar is about 15.5 deep. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a bit of a problem. Well, we'll have a look at it this weekend and see what we think about it. Maybe we can get some insight for you. Power Plant says, there are several types of cherry blossom trees, something like 20. Those seems to be the late blooming type that look like a carnation. Oh, I didn't realize. My father planted these trees 30 some years ago, and they're quite robust. Like, one is pretty thick. Like, if I live long enough for it to die, I could make it into some nice planks. Good morning, Dev. Yes, we'll have a lot of videos. I typically make a lot of videos during the SCA, and they tend to be really quick. I try to shoot them really simply so I can turn them around pretty quickly. Like the last 2 years, I was able to do like back-to-back, like daily releases. Not during the show, after the show. Like it typically takes me a week or so after. It depends whenever I get home from the show, right? Like this week, I'll be going to Houston through Sunday, and then I'll be hanging out and visiting my cousin down at San Antonio, and then some friends up in Austin. So I won't be home for about another week. Peter says, I was wondering why they don't look like the cherry blossom. Ah, yes. I don't know what variety these are. And I didn't realize there were so many varieties. But it makes sense because there's so many varieties of everything. But the coffee overall is very pleasant. Like, you know, the coffee from Mari is always very nice. So there's nothing untoward there. Power Plant says, the only thing I would go to in Houston are the Viet Cajun. Ooh, Viet Cajun. I know there's a lot of Vietnamese. I'm gonna have to look that up. Viet Cajun. What I want to do, I'm gonna call a friend of mine who's from that area. He's a Texan kind of guy. Likes to wear hats. And I was like, hey man, I'm gonna send him a message. Hey man, where? And he's also in the coffee industry. I'm like, hey man, where can I go for like the honky tonk experience? Because I'm kind of interested in the honky tonk experience. Because I'm gonna bring I got these Western shirts that now I haven't test fitted them, but you know, for the longest time they're a little bit tight, right? They're a little bit like you know how the guys like to wear like the form-fitting kind of like clothes, hugging kind of clothes. You know, that's how those fit, and like they're nice and tight, like through here, like through the forceps, not the forceps, the forearms, right? And here the biceps, so that it looks all like kind of diesel, maybe not so diesel, right? But maybe just a little bit. But it's a little bit snug here in the center, so it's not so. It was a little more pudgy than it was. So now that's a lot of that has been dissipated. I'm wondering, like, ooh, will those shirts fit better? I'm gonna have my all black. Like I got this one that's all black, like Western, like nice and thick, and like it's got the I don't know, epaulets, not epaulets, but it's got all the embroidery all on the shoulders. It looks pretty awesome. I was like, I'm thinking maybe I should get me a Western jacket, you know, one of those like sport coats that have like the leather shoulders. I don't know why, I just feel like, I was just thinking, oh, maybe I should get one, because I'm gonna bring my boots. I got some iguana boots that I had made down in Nicaragua. I probably won't wear that to the show because it just gets so. But as I'm wandering around Texas, I think I'm gonna wear the boots. I even have a Stetson, like a straw Stetson, but I was like, do I need to bring the Stetson? Because I think bringing hats like that on a plane is always rather cantankerous, you know, rather like difficult. So maybe I won't bring the hat. Maybe I'll just buy me a rodeo cap while I'm there. But sadly, the rodeo is finished. Like the rodeos only happened back in March, not now. Peter says, I don't have cherry blossoms where I am from, but the poinciana flame tree bloomed during this. Oh, very nice. That sounds very, I mean, I don't know much about poincianas, but poinciana flames sounds like it would be a winner. So are there other products that SCA that you guys are interested in seeing? What's up, Mad Mo? How are you doing? The rodeo. I don't know, man. You know, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like, I mean, I know nothing about rodeos, right? I know they rope things and chase horses. I've been to bullfights, so it must be something similar to that. But you know, I think it's always worth exploration, right? It's always worth an exploration to see what's going on in an event, especially one that people are so excited about, so revered, and it's shared by so many people down there, right? Not just like, you know, typical Americans, but also like by Hispanics. Like it's very big in that. Prabhupada says you can look in the animal's eyes and see that they don't look happy. Well, I mean, I was thinking about something similar to that the other day. I was like, we talk about pandas and they were talking. Oh, they were showing an elephant. They were showing an elephant at a zoo, and the mother elephant was trying to wake the baby elephant, and the baby elephant, you know, is sleeping. So the baby elephant's all like, I want to sleep longer, mommy. And you know, it's like the mother's like, time for school. Get up in the morning. It's already time to go. You know, whatever. It's time to go to the watering hole. I want to sleep more. And so she's having a struggle waking her child up. And I was thinking, oh, that's cute. And it's very cute. It's a very cute video. But I was thinking, you know what? It's cute, but how cute is it that they're in captivity? So I hear you on that. I hear you on that. But maybe rodeo life is better for the animals than the other alternative, which was, or probably their ultimate end will be slaughtered for meat. Not terribly. Not a very enlightening topic today, is it? Or uplifting. But it's pleasant today. It's a pleasant day. We're here by the road, as you can see. I've also got my new chair. I picked up this chair this past weekend. Let me show it to you. I was looking for a gift for a friend of mine, and I bought a gift for myself. But I found this at a antique store, and you can kind of, let me turn around this way so I can see what I'm doing here. So you can see here, it is a chair, and I sent some messages to some friends showing them pictures, and they were like, oh, it looks like a Tyrolean chair. And I was able to find an example online of a Italian-style Tyrolean chair that looks very similar to this, with the very distinctive like base here, right? All walnut looks like. The Tyrol region is in the Alps that are surrounding Austria, Switzerland, and Italy. And the type of chair that you see from Swiss and Austrian types don't have these bases. They have like regular 4-stick bases, right? So, and $8. I was like, I saw it and I was kind of like, it looks weird. It looks kind of interesting. It looks strange. It looks funky. It's kind of ugly. But I was like, there's a lot of charm in this. And the joinery is kind of, I mean, it's all old. It's all like vintage. And I was like, should I be sitting in this thing? When I first got it, I was like, I'm going to try it. And so, but so far, not bad. Not bad. So at some point, I'm going to take it apart and maybe fashion a new one out of it. I was thinking about adapting it and maybe making the back. You should paint it that way. It would match the sustainer, wouldn't it? But I was thinking about making another one, right, where I put a shield on it, like the cut out the back would have a shape of a shield, right? And then I was gonna ask one of my friends if I think he does carving, and I was gonna say, hey man, would you carve an eagle, like American eagle? I wonder if people would buy that. That's just thoughts. The other part of me even thought about oh, there's a brightness to it now. So yesterday, I know we got cut off, and I don't know what happened, and I don't know what part we got cut off on, but I was saying yesterday that one of the things that I think the power plant's points are about, disclosures and stuff are very important, especially as a YouTuber, and it's more of an ethical thing. And like I was saying, when Mr. Beast had all of his problems, Colin and Samir, that this duo that built a lot of the reputation, creating content about YouTubing and YouTubers, what were they doing? Oh, they when Mr. Beast when it came out with Mr. Beast's issues, they were silent on it. They wouldn't even touch it. And it's like, your whole thing is building your reputation on being the outlet of discussion for issues arising with YouTube, and you focus so heavily on the biggest YouTuber for so many years now. When something significant actually happens, you just duck and cover, or you just cover up for him. You don't do anything. You don't say anything. You don't look into it. And I was looking to them to be like, hey, this is what's going on, and this is what we've heard. We called up Jimmy, and we're like, what do you think? And would have an open discussion about it. And I thought they would be the right people for that. But it turns out they're not the right people for that. They're the wrong people for all of it, because when when the tough time came, when the time came to ask the tough questions, they refused to do so. And I was extremely disappointed by that. And I've stopped really watching their content because of it. Because it's like, to our point yesterday, I think that the the ethical the ethics of how you do your content is important, at least to my perspective. Like I have a hard time giving my time and consideration to those that don't really have that for others, right? Like that's why a lot of the creators that I know, that I talk to or that I follow, intellectual honesty and those, yeah, they have. It's very disappointing, man. Very disappointing. Like I thought Colin and Samir were good guys. Like I thought they were really doing some good work. But this is the criticism I have across many platforms. Like even in the coffee industry, right? We have all this coffee media. They're very much like cheerleaders. They're sis ra boom ba kind of like media. They don't report anything. They just talk about gadgets and essentially BS about the coffee business. Who cares? Like, who cares who won the barista challenge? Who cares who's doing a lot of stuff? They like Sprudge is a great example, and I've known the Sprudge guys for many years, and they know that I've been very much like, I've always said this about coffee media. Even the publisher and editors of Barista magazine, like Sarah and her husband, we've been friends, dear friends, for many years, and they know that I feel this way because I've told them directly that I think coffee media is too softball. But like for example, Sprudge is big, right? Because they're very much in tune with the hipster world of coffee, and I thought it was really interesting when the story broke about, what's the name of that place? Four Barrel. When the story broke about Four Barrel in San Francisco, that Jeremy Tooker, who was a guy that I actually know from the business, was like, I forgot it was sexual assault or some kind of like, basically inappropriate behavior for an employer to their staff. Maybe sexual advances or something like that. I don't recall. You can look it up it's actually online. The San Francisco I think it was San Francisco Examiner was the organization that broke this, a real news source, right? And I was just like, how is it that within our sector, our own, like Sprudge has all these people, and all the media has all these people across the industry, and nobody talks. Do you mean to tell me that nobody in the industry is talking about this in San Francisco, and you've got connections in San Francisco, and it has to be broken by a regular news outlet? We don't have that kind of penetration in our own industry to know? To me, that says a tremendous amount about the lack of credibility that coffee media has in our industry. And that's why I've always been like, ugh. I mean, if you're talking about a media source that does like, tells people what's the hot coffee that everyone should consider from DAC or from La Cabra or whatever, or what's the new hot ES1, okay, great, but that's not, I mean, I guess that's what floats a lot of people's boats, what I guess I should be saying. Power Plant says that's fine, but they need to disclose. I totally agree. Power Plant says that back in the day, I called out Hendrik for taking gifts for review, and we got into it. I mean, I'm curious to know, like, what was the defense? I mean, like, I'm presuming that he was taking gifts for review, leaving positive reviews for them, but not disclosing that he had received them. And, I got kicked off a board. What is it? Espresso aficionados or something like that. There's a group called Espresso Outfitters. Turns out it's one of Hoon's sponsors, because Hoon and I were talking about going to the show this week. And I'm like, oh, who's you hanging out with them? I'm hanging out with the guys from, and I was like, oh, those are the guys that run the board, right? On the forum on Facebook. He's like, yeah. They kicked me off because one day they had this article that was they posted to the site. Somebody posted it. Somebody posted an article to the site that was published somewhere, I think on their site, and I looked it up. I was curious, and then, but it didn't disclose that the guy was writing for them, and I was like, just say so. That's all you have to do is say that you're. That I don't really care that the guy works for you or wrote for you. Just say that what the connection is, so that if we need to take it with a grain of salt, we can take it with a grain of salt. Oh, they got really mad. Like, they kicked me off the board. Well, you know. Paige says the PowerPoint, I wouldn't count on them to go after the influencers that much, since both are being gutted by Felon 47 and his crew. Yeah, well, I just don't know if they'll have the resources to do that with what's happening. PowerPoint says, I've also called out many of the Japanese tourism influencers and have gotten really into it with them. Oh. You know who, speaking of Japanese tourist influencers, you know who I like? I don't know if you've seen it. Her name is Patricia O'Connor, but she goes under the YouTube and Instagram handles of What the Pato, W-H-A-T, the Pato, P-A-T-O, Patricia O'Connor, basically. And I don't know, I'm sure she receives a lot of where, like, they go to a few places. Now that she's grown a bit, I'm sure they're going to a lot of places that, you know, Japanese tourism is covering for them. She mostly does shorts that I see, so I just enjoy her work. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know. She doesn't. I don't know if she disclosed that anywhere on her. I never really look because I'm just enjoying her work. Because you know what? I saw another influencer the other day, just last night, and she's like talking about places in Osaka, right? And she's like, here in Osaka, 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 and I was like, oh my gosh, my ears are hurting now. I was like, my ears are hurting. And I don't mean to be like the language police, because I'm certainly not very good at language, but, you know, Osaka is different than Osaka. I'm just like, my poor ears. I was like, I gotta click away. It's terrible. I'm a terrible person for that, aren't I? PowerPoint says those Japanese influencers never disclose they're being gifted thousands of dollars in room and food. They never disclose that they're being sponsored by the local government. Now, okay, so here's my question for you then, and your interpretation of this. Like, and I'm presuming that, okay, excluding non-Japanese tourist influencers, and to a certain extent, I would say Patricia qualifies somewhat. She's actually ethnically half American, half Chinese, but I think her father was military, so they've been in Japan. She basically grew up in Japan, so she's very like knowledgeable about the Japanese culture and Japanese society, but she's not ethnically Japanese. But I'm wondering, like, so let's say with the Japanese influencers specifically, even if they're not disclosing gifts for that, I'm curious to know, like, is the culture there such that there really, if they were to say that it was a good experience, would there be much reason to challenge the veracity of that statement? Meaning that, like, you know, presuming that Japan is a cooperative and considerate society, does that have an effect on how you should view Japanese influencers? Paige says, most influencers seem not to disclose the gifts and grifts. PowerPoint says, to Hendrick's credit, he did typical, these were sent to me by the company for review, but did not get to influence the video. You know, I have to wonder about that. So as I do a live stream on Thursday nights, and it's mostly about cigars and also a little bit about coffee. Actually, the coffee was just an excuse for the show to exist, right? And it originally started on this channel, so that's why we did the coffee. Otherwise, it would have just been a cigar show. But we did every Thursday night at 8 p.m. here on a different channel called the Ono Live channel, which I created separately for that because I was worried at one point about YouTube, you know, just wiping out tobacco-related channels. And there are times when I've gotten cigars from friends or maybe from a rep or maybe from someone that has worked closely with the cigar in some manner. They have a vested interest in it. And it's gifted to me, because they're my friends, not because I do this show. Like, I'll just use it on the show because, you know what, if I use a cigar that they give me, then I don't have to go and buy a cigar. So it saves me a little money. But sometimes I wonder, like, you know, how difficult is it sometimes to, like, you know, remain totally open about a product. Like, if it's a good product and you enjoy it, like, it's very easy to be very magnanimous about it, right? You can easily be like, oh, this is a great product. And the fact that they gave me this product for free doesn't influence that. And they don't have they don't have say over the content. They don't have the ability they don't have first right refusal. They don't have any review power over the video. I mean, those are all nice disclaimers, but what if the product isn't very good? How much of it, I wonder how much nicer does that make you towards the product? And I think that's a human nature thing. I don't know if that can be, you know, and I wonder, I try to wonder about that myself, even for my own videos. Like, you know, if I'm almost never given product by the manufacturer. Like, there's been a couple products that we did, like the fellow shimmy. I did a video about that. That was actually a gift from my friend Gautam Kambargeri, who runs a place called Brewing Gadgets in Dubai. When I was there a few years ago, he was like, hey man, I want you to try these products. I was like, and I hadn't started the channel really by then. He was like, just take them. I was like, because we've been friends for many years, and, like, you know. So, yeah, as far as getting product from manufacturers, like, I don't get anything. And typically, like, here on this channel, I buy pretty much everything that we've seen, mostly, with the exception of things like that. Like, that was gifted to me, or maybe a friend gifted me something to try, or like something like Matt will let me use equipment to play around with to use in a video. But somewhere along the way, it's somebody has bought it in some form or another. Whether they bought it at retail or whether they bought it at wholesale, it was purchased. Although not always necessarily by my own pocket. Powerplant says, problem is if you are gifted something, you will want to talk good about it. You will also want to maintain a good relationship in order to get more free stuff in the future. I know, don't get too upset. We get it. I know you're very passionate about this. And I hear you. I do hear you. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I agree with you that, you know, you have to wonder, like, although I will tell you, in my case, like, and you can certainly ask people in the industry if you want to check the veracity of my statement here, but I think I've been relatively well known in the industry for being rather frank in my discussions, not really worrying about what people think, sometimes to my own detriment, probably. Like, I remember many years ago, you may know this guy, Nick Cho. He's an influencer now under the Your Korean Dad moniker. So Nick used to be in the coffee business many years ago. We were actually very close friends. He used to have a place in Washington, D.C. called Murky Coffee. We kind of went our own ways, mainly because, you know, there were certain things that he did in his business and his personal life that I just didn't agree with on an ethical level. And I was just like, I can't remain silent on that. Because if I remain silent, then I'm complicit. But I wish him well, right? I never really have any ill will for the guy. But for the reason I bring this up, because years ago we used to do the very first podcast for the coffee industry, the podcast called the Portafilter.net podcast. We did that from like 2005 to 2008. Did 77 episodes of that podcast. And it was the most widely listened to podcast, coffee podcast in the world, because it was pretty much the only one in the world. So anyone that was in the business listened to the podcast, which was really great because it was really a nice time. But one of the things that he mentioned to me early on that I always kind of thought about, he's like, because we had our own coffee company, we had our own coffee shops. He said, we could talk about whatever we want. He's like, we're kind of, he didn't say invincible, but he's something similar to that. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we have our own companies. Our customers are not the people that are listening to us. They're industry folks. Our customers we serve daily. We don't have to worry about what we say so much because we can say what we really feel and be very blatant about it, because it's not like these guys are going to turn their back. They're not going to like stop buying from us because they don't buy from us to begin with. I was like, good point. And that's what I've kind of remembered as far as like, working within the industry. It's like, well, I don't need to buy that product. Proplan says, I've heard from multiple sources that the FCC is starting to go after non-disclosure of advertising. I mean, YouTube has definitely come down more on that and been beating that drum that the FCC is going to come after them. And I think that as with anything, the FCC will probably will find some YouTuber or 7 or 10 or 12 that they can make an example of and beat up on them. Mainly, because to get other people to come in line, right? If you could show enough force to scare most of the YouTubers to comply, then you've done a good job, right? It's very easy then to work that way. And it requires less effort than trying to go round up thousands and thousands of YouTubers. And I don't know, I don't know if it shows up, because I really never thought too much to look at it, but on YouTube, and you could see this for yourself on your own YouTube account, if you click on creating a video, they'll give you or let's say create a live stream or whatever, they'll give you a whole setup of questions, a whole setup of forms to fill out, or just, check boxes and stuff. One of the check boxes is about paid promotions. It asks you very bluntly, are any of these products featured in this video sponsored or whatever, something like that. And it's a yes and no question. So yes, it is, or no, it's not. I always select no because the only sponsor really is me. Yeah, but you can see that, and I think just by checking that box satisfies the FCC requirement. I don't think the FCC requires you to be more explicit in your disclosures than that checkbox, I think. Peter says, I'm giving up learning Japanese, too hard. My first trip to Japan was in 1990. After having studied Japanese for at least 2 school years by that point, right? And I had the kana down, right? I had the katakana, the hiragana. I knew it like in and out. I could read it, I could write it, no problems. I had my little book of translations from back and forth, and I had a book of kanji. And I was like, I'm going to Japan. I'll be fine. Perfect. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Man. If you can go to Japan and you can know the hiragana, katakana, and you can be very good at it. But if you don't really know the kanji, you're just an illiterate guy out there floating around the world. Like I can see that no. That's it. Okay, great, great, great. I'm illiterate here in this country. So at least now, and even back then, I can't say that it wasn't like this. But one nice thing about Japan, there's a lot of romanji, right? So that they take the Roman character, they take the Japanese words, and they write them in Roman lettering, right? So you can see that Asakusa is spelled Asakusa rather than the characters. So yeah, Peter, I wouldn't worry too much about it. And plus, a lot of pointing, a lot of bowing, and just being very kind and open really gets you very far. Like my language skills since my college days have deteriorated to the point that it's just basically, nah, nah, honto. That's pretty much it. It's pretty much all I could do. And maybe like sumimasen or wakarimashita, something like that. Or I'll have katsu, please. Oh, katsu kudasai. So you don't really, yeah, I think, and plus also the Google Translate is a great app. Like you can do like Google Translate like on the fly. Like when I was there 2 years ago, that's what I was doing. I was like, sometimes I would use that, and it worked pretty well. Capri, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Peter says, if that's your income or business is to promote a product for a company, then it's your job to review it positively. Because essentially you're an advertising business, but if you're an independent reviewer, you should be unbiased. But I guess I wonder, like, when I see your point. I totally see your point. I totally can agree with that. But I wonder, like, at what point if you're an independent reviewer, and you're making your living off it, that is your business, right? So, like, for example, there's a guy that I watch on YouTube called Project Farm, and he's a tool reviewer. And he gets like all kinds of tools. Like, for example, what's the best chainsaw? He buys like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 different chainsaws and puts them through these tests. And he's very good at his. And I just basically skip to the end to see which one is he recommending, because if I need it, I'm gonna go buy that one, right? Or at least consider that one. And if you look at his videos, it takes a lot of work and takes a lot of, he must be spending a good amount of money on it. At what point, and of course, if there's something that's bad, he says it. And he's not trashing them, but he's like, this is not worth buying, or this is a problem, or whatever. It doesn't last as much. And so, but I wonder, like, at one point, if you go from independent, unbiased reviews, and it becomes your life, becomes your business, does that necessarily mean you have to change and become more agreeable in your reviews? Prabhupada says that's only true in Tokyo and Osaka. They have enough signs in English. Okay. I have not been too far out in a long time. I did go to Sano, in Tochigi, this last trip, but I haven't really been. What I want to do next time, I was telling my friend Chucky to come with me, and I said, I want to rent a car, and I want to go. I don't know where. Just go driving, and just see the side. Like, I haven't been really outside of Tokyo until Sano, this past trip. I hadn't left Tokyo in decades, ever. Well, not ever, but when I went in 1990, I went not just to Tokyo, but I also went to Kyoto, as well as Kanazawa, and then to Osaka. But ever since then, I haven't gone anywhere. Peter says, that's why I like Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines. I can read the Roman alphabet. Yeah. I mean, and I think, and Power Plant says, like in the major cities, you should be fine. When I go to restaurants at some places, I am using Google Translate, the photo app, to be like, okay. But it works. It works. As long as you have the temperament to like be cool and be patient about it. PowerPlan says learning isolate languages is completely pointless unless you have direct business in that language. I mean, it is difficult. It's difficult to keep up with any language. Like here in the United States is a great example. Right? We're so remote from any part of the world. Our neighbor to the north speaks English. Our neighbor to the south speaks Spanish. But nobody pays attention to that because you know, we have no neighbors to the east and west. So there's very little cross-cultural contamination. You know, very little cross-cultural inference. So people here just speak English, and that's all they know. That's all you need to know. And that's all you'll ever know because there's no contact with anyone else. Which is a shame. I wish I had more language skills. Peter says, I can't even order a coffee in basic Japanese. We can teach you that. Kohi o kudasai. Kuda. PowerPlan's going to be like, man, your pronunciation's atrocious. You were just bashing on that girl a few moments ago about Osaka, and now you're like, Kohi o kudasai. Yeah, that was bad. It's a bit of a red flag when a white guy from Iowa comes to Japan speaking. You've seen those videos, I'm sure, where you got the white guy and he's like ordering in Chinese in China. It's like, guy shocks the world by speaking Chinese. And it's like, I get it. It is shocking, right? We don't, and this is the part that I don't understand. It's like, if you're American, you think that's a cool video. Oh, look at these people. They totally got fooled. But it's like, they're only fooled because they expect you to be an ignorant, you know, to be ignorant, right? Like, nobody expects the white guy to speak other languages because you're American, and Americans take pride in the fact that they can't speak other languages. It's so crazy. So, and I watch this video and I'm like, if I had a Hindi guy that was walking around ordering at Burger King, would it be an interesting video? Hindi guy speaks perfect English. What? Here comes that's my neighbors. What was that? Oh, McLaren. They live far away. I have no idea. I have no idea what they're doing. Kent says, I live in the rainiest city in Europe. Today it's sunny and hot, so I'm going for a hike. Oh, nice. Congrats on 400. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Have a great one, Kent. Enjoy your hike. Oh, there it is. There it is. Kohi hitotsu onegaishimasu. Ah, there. Kohi hitotsu. Hitotsu. What's the hitotsu? I don't know that. Onegaishimasu. Well, why do you say onegaishimasu versus kudasai? Like, my understanding with onegaishimasu, like if you meet someone, it's like onegaishimasu. Paige says, I enjoy your hike and I wish I had more skill language. Because me too. I'm totally with you. Yes, Hindi that for next year. It is a pretty day. Like, Baltimore would be such a wonderful place if you could live like this. Like, if this was the weather we had every day, you know, maybe just right about 80 something, low humidity, light breeze, like sunny. God, this would be the perfect place to live in the world. But within a few days, we'll have a couple days of this, but in a few more days, it'll be muggy and humid and just misery. I'm trying to use my garage workshop as much as possible in these days because it's so pleasant. The doors are open. Like in this winter time, I have to close the doors and like turn the heater on. When the summer comes, then I'll have no choice. I have the doors open, but it'll just be blazingly hot. Peter loves hiking. Papan says, if you don't want something, you can say nashide. For example, gyunyu nashide. Gyunyu nashide. Gyunyu nashide. Gyunyu nashide. Okay, I remember that. I'll try to remember that. Oh yeah, same. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Paige. You got that. You guys have that same weather we have here. Oh, so terrible, so terrible. All right, well, that's it. Onegashimasu is a kind of a catch for all for many things like please and nice to meet you. Ah, okay. So we will do that. Peter says I'll be sipping masala chai with a dash of Delhi belly. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. All right, so thank you very much for hanging out. Time to head out. I'm gonna go enjoy this day. Actually, what I have to do is get my saw blade resharpened. So, hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for being here and hanging out with me all these times. 400 episodes is quite a very special moment. I'm very excited. Can't believe when we started this live stream that we made it all this way. And so, hope you have a wonderful day out there. Be back again tomorrow with another episode of the Coffee Q&A. And that is the name, right? So, have a great day and see you next time. Ooh.